Well, it is the end of another day. I'm out here in the garage enjoying a cigar. Thank you so much for joining me. I really am thankful for all of the people who are watching. I know that there are more and more people joining and subscribing to the channel each day and seeing, and I really do appreciate you taking your time to watch this with me and listen to what I've got to say. Tonight I've got a story about my son that I wanted to share that happened today, and also how it ties in with a book by Senator Josh Hawley. I've read a little bit about this, Manhood, the Masculine Virtues America Needs. The story was very much in line with kind of the theme of the story I'm going to share with you about my son. And then since we finished Romans, I've got a scripture that I wanted to share with you, just a single verse, but it kind of ties it all together as well. So my son is 3 years old and he is potty training. Now, anybody who's been through potty training can know that it could be really, really smooth or really, really challenging. He is 3, and so he's later in the game in being potty trained, but it's because he was a little bit more challenging. He started off pretty strong about a year ago and then just decided he was done with it, didn't want anything to do with it. Well, today he has been wearing his big boy underwear, and he will go into the restroom to take care of business on his own. We want to celebrate that, obviously come back and check and make sure that he's actually going in the potty, and then giving him a little reward for doing so. What we noticed today, though, was he kept going to the bathroom to use the restroom, and he would come out very, very quickly saying that he had gone. And he did this about 2 or 3 times, and finally we went to watch him because he said he had to go again. So he went to use the restroom, but he did not pull his underwear down at all. Just peed right on through him. And needless to say, it was a humorous moment for us, a teaching opportunity for him. But it was one of those things that you have to laugh about as a parent that you get to do. Well, in addition to potty training today, he also went to the pool. And forgive me for that fly. I apologize. It is distracting me probably more than it is you. But anyway, so went to the pool, and he's had this thing that he wants to do. There's a high dive and a low dive there. And he has been talking about jumping off of the diving board all summer long. He went last year and swam and saw his sister jump off the high dive and everything. But this year, he's really wanted to do it himself. Well, one time he went to the pool with my mother-in-law, and my mother-in-law was quick to say, no, you don't need to do that. You're too young, too dangerous, all of that. And so he didn't get even an opportunity to do so. Well, another time he went, and I wanted to encourage him in his brave adventures. And so I went with him to the diving board, and he got up on the low dive, and we walked out to the front, and then he turned around and said, I don't want to do it. So he came down and we walked away, and I didn't, shame him or anything. I celebrated him getting up there. We talked through how it was a little scarier than what he thought, but that he will do it when he's ready. And forgive me, this fly is driving me crazy. I've got this fly. The stories that I've read in Manhood by son of a motherless goat. Shoot. All right, so let's try this again. So he's at the diving board, and he didn't want to go. Like I said, I take him down. We walk back. I tell him, it's okay, buddy. You don't have to worry. You'll go whenever you're ready. And let him know. We'll keep trying. And he kept talking about it. And today, he went up there, and nobody was around him. We thought he was going to go up and then just come right back down like he had done. And he decided today was the day he was going to jump off. So as a father, that's something I'm super, super stoked about, want to celebrate with him. And I am just so excited to be able to, teach him through those little things that he gets to grow in. And that's, one of the joys of being a father is being able to walk through all of the little things in life that you learned, that you got to experience, the joys, the sadness. Those are the things that you really do anticipate being able to experience with your children. So I'll go ahead and jump into this book right here because it transitions very, very nicely into that. He was talking about, he said, from the time I was a teenager, maybe even before, and I can relate to this, I'd wanted to be a father. I think I associated it with being a man. Virtually all the adult men I admired, my grandfather, my coaches, my own dad, were fathers. But it went deeper than that. I wanted to share my life with someone else to share the important parts of me. I imagined helping my future children through hard days and encouraging them when they were confused. Picturing myself as a dad was me learning to grow up. But I realized that my dreams about fatherhood were in many ways childish. Fatherhood was not something I could control, and it was not an ornament to decorate my life. Not something to possess, but something that would possess me. Not something I could use to complete my life, but a role that would transform my life into something altogether different and new. I began to ask myself what it would take to be a father. And I began to see that the opportunity to do this, to give and to sacrifice and be claimed in this way, was itself a gift. Not a guarantee, but a gift. I've come to understand that being a father means being imperfect. It means feeling out of control. It means confronting all the ways in which you yourself are flawed. Yet, for all of that, fatherhood is the invitation of a lifetime, the invitation to a different kind of life, because to be a father is to realize perfection is not the aim, and you are not the center of the universe. Fatherhood is an invitation to discover grace and the character it makes possible. We need fathers to confront the chaos and darkness around us, and we need men who have the character of fathers. Many Epicureans these days want to insist that mothers and fathers are interchangeable, or better replaced by the state. The Bible says no. The mission of manhood is bound up with fathering. And I could not agree more. There is something so satisfying and yet frustrating at the exact same time when you realize that you thought you had all the answers, you thought you knew everything, and then something comes up in your child that makes you realize you hadn't even thought of this. And so it's an opportunity not only to teach them, but to be taught yourself. And that's one of the things that I am so passionate about, is getting around people who are older than you, getting around men who are older than you, getting around women who are older than you, specifically, finding someone who is further along in life than you are, so that you can ask those questions. And not that they're necessarily going to have all of the right answers all of the time. I can certainly attest to that. I don't have all the right answers. I don't claim to. But there are some things that I've been through that I know I can impart to somebody else. And I hope that as I have benefited from others who have poured into me, that I can turn around and do the same. Not just to my children, but to also encourage those in my life around me to do the same. And even as you're watching online, hopefully to encourage you to do the same. The scripture that I wanted to share tonight was from Proverbs. And it's Proverbs 1, verse 7 and 8. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother." And then we'll go on to verse 9. "For they will be a graceful ornament on your head and chains about your neck." I hope that you recognize that we are all in this journey. I don't know if we're together. I think we are more together than we are apart. But we are all essentially striving for the same thing, which is to become a better version of ourselves, to improve ourselves. But in that journey, please don't neglect to reach out to others to find out how they have done it, what they've learned, to glean from them what you can, but also to pass that on to those who are coming behind you. I thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you are not already subscribed to the channel and you like what you saw, like what you heard, please do me a favor and subscribe. Like I said, if you like it, hit that thumbs up button, share it on social media. Add something in the comments of anything that stood out to you or any stories that you may relate to or want to share that we could talk about on here as well. And also, as always, if you are in the Lebanon area and would like to join me, I would love to sit down with you to share a cigar and change the world.